Alright, hello and welcome to the brand new CrossCraft version 1.1 expansion update. CrossCraft version 1.1 has expanded quite a bit since the initial release, not only in terms of the actual core gameplay, but also the platforms that support it. In this patch, we've added support for Intel-based Macintoshes, although you could probably compile it for the M1, seeing that it would work perfectly fine with the CMake, and the PlayStation Vita as well. For the PlayStation Vita, you will need to install libshack CG, and there are instructions inside of the release itself. In CrossCraft Classic version 1.1, we've added the new main menu, as you can see on your screen, alongside of texture pack support. Currently, I don't have any texture packs installed, but if you added texture packs here, they would show up in the list, and you would be able to select which ones you want to have loaded. We also have added save support, so you can go ahead and save your worlds. This is the escape button on the desktop, or the start button on the PlayStation Portable or the PlayStation Vita. We also support multiplayer. Multiplayer does require you to configure the config.cfg file beforehand, though, to point to the server that you actually want to join. This will support Classic version 0.30 servers alongside of the CrossCraft Classic server as well. We also have multiplayer chat, working on Windows, Linux, and Mac, and PSP as well. We have improved the world generation algorithm here, and as you can see, the world generation algorithm looks a little bit more rough and bumpy, and in compatibility mode, which it is right now, is generating more interesting terrain. There's also a option, if you turn off compatibility mode, to go ahead and generate the old classic CrossCraft Classic styled world as well. We've made numerous improvements to the world, including the tree generation algorithm, making it look more natural alongside of flower patches. If we go ahead and dig down, we can go ahead and see that ores and things like that will spawn in the world. You can also notice that there's a selection box as well for selecting whatever you need. If you go to the world border, you'll notice that it'll be a classic style world border. It will just basically be infinite water. And then we also have an improved interface, as you can tell. Currently there's been massive optimization here. The FPS went from 300 to about 1800. Right now it's going to run a little slower though, of course, because I'm recording a video. We also have improved simulation for stuff like gravel and sand, which you can see is dropping down with gravity, and improve the way that water simulation works as well. If you plant down a sapling, it will go ahead and grow, and things that rely on random tick happen a lot faster than it did in the initial release. Into the game, we've also added view bobbing, which you can see number 1 from the passive motion of the camera, and then number 2 also on the hand as well. On the PSP itself, we have fixed calling issues that would happen when you were in spaces like this. For example, sometimes you would call the size of these edges and you could see through to the background. Now that is no longer the case. It's just now that you would actually be able to see this. If you run up very close to an object, you can still occasionally get calling issues though, and that's just a thing about graphics in general that can't really be fixed too much. For the PSP now runs at a solid 60 FPS at most times. There's only a chunk lag when you basically generating new chunks as you run towards the edge. And as you can tell, we have the FPS counter in the top right. Here is the chat selection box, and you can go ahead and type in your message. In this case, it doesn't really do anything because, of course, we are on a single-player world. On a multiplayer server, it would actually show up. We do have a couple of known issues. The PSP texture pack menu is currently disabled due to an issue with zip extraction. And then when opening block selection in the PSP, the background may sometimes not appear, so the little gray box. You can still select and choose your blocks anyways. It's not that big of a deal, it's just an issue with that. When the PS Vita has some issues with the multiplayer where it is very slow or sometimes just lags out as well, that is something that is an ongoing investigation. The PS Vita block hand does not appear, it's a graphical issue, and the PS Vita inventory, instead of showing these as blocks, will show them as more of sprites. These are due to graphical issues that did not carry over correctly between versions, and we will be taking a look and fixing those issues into the future. As for that, we now have Tier 1 compatibility for Windows, Linux, and the PSP, alongside with mostly Tier 1 compatibility on the Macintosh, and then the PS Vita currently has Tier 2 compatibility, where it's not quite up to speed, but it is better than not working at all. The next platform to get a port will probably be the PlayStation 2. And this concludes sort of the end of CrossCraft's classic phase. We'll be moving into the survival test phase. Survival test will basically be the equivalent of the Minecraft survival test with our own development stages. Survival test will not try to mimic Minecraft survival test exactly, and it will try to implement most of the features there, but it serves more so as a testing ground. There will be 3 releases, Survival Test 1, 2, and 3, and those releases will be a little bit more experimental, but we'll add things like mobs into the game, health, the ability to collect items, and things like that. So, without further ado, have a great day.